call the February 10th.
Yeah.
I'd like to call the February 10th Port and Harbors Advisory Board meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Cockrum,
Here.
Wilsey,
Here.
Ethel, Lundy,
Here.
Cook,
Here.
Youngblood, Faber,
Here.
Ruth,
Here.
Toddy.
Here. Please stand. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next order of business is approval of minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, it passes. Communications, do we have any?
No.
None? Do we have any persons to be heard? Doesn't look like it.
No,
Unfinished business, none. New business, so 2026 harbor rate increase.
So I'll go ahead and kick that off. The last meeting, we couldn't speak about that, if you remember, because you had to post this for 14 days. That resolution has been posted for the, actually over the allotted amount of time, and we can speak about that now. During the budget cycle, the finance department came and chatted and basically put in a request for an 8% increase for the harbor rates. One of the reasons that we want to do that, of course, it'll bring in some more funding. But the bigger reason that we really need to look at that is we're running on a pretty tight budget just to try to keep the harbors as they are right now. We really don't have funding to try to do any really capital improvement projects. One of the things that we would really like to be able to do is to bring some more funding in to be able to put it in basically get a little savings fund there, which will enable us to put in for state grant matches. At this time, we don't have the funding to do state grant, matches, and we really need to work towards that. So as we move forward, we're able to actually do some of these projects and start replacing some of those fingers and things of that nature. So one of the things that I'll just go down and kind of read the resolution to you. The ordinance that we're talking about would be 26/3003. It's a resolution of the council of the city of Ketchikan, naming rates and fees for the use of the harbor facilities owned and operated by the city of Ketchikan and establishing an effective date. The Ketchikan harbors are operated and maintained under the jurisdiction of the Ketchikan City Council. Ordinance 23/1981 allows for the setting of rates and fees for public use of the city harbors by resolution. City Council has determined that adjustments in current rate fees are necessary in order to provide for adequate funding for long-term operation and maintenance of the city harbors. Per Ketchikan Municipal Code 14.10.005, the proposed resolution was posted at City Hall. The Harbor Department and the city's website that was initially put there on 1/9/2026 is still there. And now we'd like to go to the Port and Harbor Advisory Board to get their concurrence so we can move forward. And with that, I'll just turn it back over to the FAB board.
So to qualify for grant funding, do you have to have money in reserves or in the account, or just show that you have X amount of revenue?
I believe we have to be able to show that we have money in reserves. We have to be able to, it's a 50% match for the state. So if we, are requesting $1 million grant, we have to have $500,000. So that's kind of where we're sitting at right now. So those are some things that we need to look at.
So we're looking at keeping a substantial savings account in order to apply for the grants.
Correct.
Anyone else? Questions or?
Does anybody, oh, go ahead.
Right here.
Does anybody recall what the first step was? Percent?
I think it was 10%.
I think 8 or 10%.
I think it was 10 in the
Okay.
second year.
Is this basically going? Cause we approved a plan and the city council approved it where it was it was like a bigger one the first year and then was it gonna be 8% for the next? It was like the next 4 years or
4
something.
years or something.
3 years, yeah.
Two.
Yeah, I think it was
2 years.
10
2 years and then we were looking at,
Reassessing.
yeah, and then going, basically raising kind of the same as inflation.
My recollection is tying it to inflation was something we were gonna look at, what the city manager wanted to do that with various fees throughout the city, not just specific to the urban. Even though I know that's what we're here for. I don't think that has been determined yet.
I know that, I can only speak to the port fees and the harbor fees. The port fees, are gonna go up pretty substantially. We've given notice to the cruise industry and they understand that, they're on board with that. I think looking at the harbor rates, we're kind of deficient in that. I know initially my understanding, and please correct me if I don't understand it, don't understand it, but I believe the initial thing was to really do a big jump to get it kind of even and caught up with the rest of industry and the rest of Alaska. We're kind of one of the lower harbor rates. I think instead of throwing that great big rate out as a great big shock to everybody, we're trying to do it small bites at a time. It doesn't help us right away to get where we need to be, but I think it's, if we can continue in this venue, it'll help us get to where we need to be to start doing some real work in the harbors in the future. And I think, somewhere in the, this 8% is only going to bring in like $130,000. It's not, and yes, it's coming from the harbors, but in the big scheme of things, we all know that doesn't go very far in today's world.
Do you know, like, so if we do increases, basically like, because this was a, plan that kind of got put into motion a year or two ago.
2 years.
Yeah, like how close are we getting to being able to get some reserves where we can look for grant monies?
Right now, we're not where we need to be at all, and this will help a little bit. We're gonna have to continue in this venue to get where we need to be, to get some reserves built up so we can actually start putting for grants. When I continue with the director's report, I've got a little good news on some grant possibilities, and I'll talk to you about that, which will help out with Mountain Point maybe a little bit, and we'll discuss that. But I'd like to be able to give you great news and say we're right where we need to be, but we're not. And we had Waterworth, which was the rate engine folks that came, and we've plugged in numbers, and we're really not where we need to be. To really get where we need to be, we need to increase. I think this 8% is kind of a small number right now. It kind of needs to happen, but I certainly wanted, council gave me direction to come to the FAB and talk to you guys about that as well and get your concurrence. And I'll take it back to them.
Does anybody know the number, the end number, where we would be to get more level with the rest of the state?
I don't know that number. I could find that out.
Cause if we did 10, we do 8, we do another 8, that's 18. of top of what we,
26.
huh?
36.
Oh, 16. Oh, wow, that's, yeah.
10, 8, and 8.
we're getting close to a third.
Yeah.
26.
I think
Yeah.
when I
26.
remember when we went, we were, the recommendation, because they had Ports and Harbors commissioned the study,
Right,
was that we increased the rates like 54%. Or 50 something percent, I can't remember, and
With some
everyone
estimate.
said we can't do that all at
Right.
once, and so, yeah, the plan was to split that up over like 4 years and then reassess, so.
Where is that reserve at now? Or is there?
There is no reserve
There's
now, as
no
far as I
reserve.
know.
Really?
No.
That's kind of amazing.
Do you have any idea how much we raised with the first 10%?
I don't have it off the top of my head. I could find that out.
Any idea where the money went to?
I'm sure it went into doing repairs. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you know,
just-
maintenance.
yeah.
we are shoestring budgeting repairs. I mean, quite honestly.
Well, when we started, when this plan came about, the Ports and Harbors was in the hole, so basically the other taxpayers were subsidizing the Ports and Harbors. Or the harbor part, the Ports and Harbors anyway, which was why.
Which other taxpayers?
Basically, the city as a whole was coming out of the general fund. There was more coming out of the general fund than was.
Okay, so a certain part of that, I see the raw fish tax is on there too. So all the raw fish tax goes into the general fund.
It's, yeah, it's okay.
That's correct, right?
That's the city's
And,
portion.
and so the percentages that we saw like at the last meeting that go to the city and the borough, the other half of that raw fish tax goes to the state, to the general fund. So it seems like some of that money should be coming back to the harbor if it's, the harbor's in decay. I mean, I don't know exactly how that process works, but it sounds like we're not funded. And to have anything, you have to pay for it. And the commercial fishing fleet is paying for it every time they make a delivery in Ketchikan. So, I wasn't at the council meeting, so I don't know what was being said, but I mean, I see those two things. I see the raw fish tax on there.
And none of the money from the state or the borough comes into the harbor fund, none of it.
I know, but I thought at a couple meetings back, the state turned over the harbors to the city of Ketchikan. So it seems like if they're taking up 1.5% of what we saw at the last meeting, maybe the city needs to ask the state for some of that money back for a limited amount of time to build up a fund so you could go after grants. It seems like the Build Back Better funding, there was funding for like Homer and some of the other, cities around the state for infrastructure. Man.
Yeah, if I might, when this all happened, when we got the big gift from the state of the harbors, some other folks got maintenance with their little gift. I don't believe we did. We really got the short end of the stick on
It
this.
sounds like it. I mean,
We did. I was here. And the raw fish tax thing, it'll come up later, but, I did go testify in front of city council 2 meetings ago about this. And it's something we need to not let go of. I mean, I don't know what we can do, but we can sure make waves.
well, I think that maybe we could ask the city council to approach the state to have money come back, maybe for a limited amount of time, or, to not have a fund, to me seems I'm kind of surprised by that there's not a fund, so you can't go after more money because you don't have any money.
Right, well, if I may, the only fund is the raw fish tax.
Right,
So right now, most of it goes to the borough, who has nothing in the I mean, we have the harbors, we have all the processors are in our city limits. But they're getting most of the money.
Right.
And so I know that's been brought forth to the city council and they're supposed to be working on it.
We are going to, through a corporate relations committee with the city and the borough, we're gonna bring up that subject
Yes,
after that meeting that we had the other day.
So the numbers that we looked at the last meeting, that was the city and the borough, but there's another half of that that goes to the state of Alaska.
okay, yes,
So if
yes,
you're looking at,
yes, yes.
you know, $800,000, that's really like 1.6 or something. So, you know, and that's fine. I understand that the state has shortfall, so they need that income from all the producing communities like Ketchikan or Dutch Harbor or wherever for everything else that goes on in the state. But, you know, to short, you know, the harbor's in disrepair. You have to maintain things to have something, you have to maintain it. And it sounds like you need a fund to get, you can't get more money because you don't have any money. So, you know, I don't know, you know, if they would give up that bone, like the state would be willing, you know, if the city council asks the state, hey, look, we're in disrepair and we can get these grants, can we somehow get that? I know that's really hard to do, but I've always kind of wondered about that.
We can, at AML coming up on the 16th of February, we can certainly approach Stedman and Bynum, our representatives, to see whether that some of the monies that goes to the state can come back. I can talk about it. I'm going, generally Gage is going and the mayor is going. We can certainly bring that up and see where that goes.
So,
And like Tom said, it could be a short-term deal till we
Yeah.
get something.
They're not gonna want to give money back, but
Oh.
they're, you know, it goes into the general fund, but it is not fair to tax the commercial fishing group in one of the highest production cities in the state of Alaska and not give something back to the harbor. I mean, you have to have maintenance.
kind of skipping ahead a little bit. I mean, I know both these topics are related, but, does anyone want to make a motion one way or the other about support for or not support
The rate increase.
for the rate increase?
Yes.
I do have a question about it,
Yes.
because let me get it right. So we are raising it, and so eventually we can have reserves. But like, we already raised it once, right? Was any of that money then earmarked and saved?
I don't think so. You know, you also have to realize that what was supposed to have happened was over a 50% jump. We did 10%.
Mhm.
If you think about the last 4 years with inflation, with tariffs, with all this stuff, you know, all of a sudden, what seemed like a lot of money, you know, that you could build, now all of a sudden you're paying more for materials, equipment, all these things to try to do what we're doing. You know, lumber cost, everything else, you know, we're dealing with inflation on top of everything else. And if you really go back, Ketchikan was pretty resistant for a long time of getting their harbor rates increased. You know, they didn't get an increase for a long period of time. And nobody likes their bills to go up. Trust me, I know. You ought to see me around tax time. I don't like spending money either.
No, I get that.
So,
I guess my question is there an amount that is going to be set aside to save, or like we just get it and we spend it because we need to?
well, I think it depends on, you know, what's going on. You know, if we have some major thing that goes on and we have to repair something right away, we'll do that. But the intent is certainly to try to start building a reserve.
Right. Okay.
And
So-
did you say with an 8% increase if things go as planned, this next year, that
We
potentially
should-
you'd be 130 ahead?
The extra is gonna be like 130. If and don't quote me on that number. I'm remembering it from, you know, back in December when we did, budget, but that's the number that kind of sticks in my head. It was around that amount. It's not a huge amount of money that it's gonna bring in. But, you know, the intent is to certainly try to save some of that money and start building some reserves. So we can move forward and, you know, look to the future, and put in for some grants. Right now, we just don't have the funding. And that's been a problem, I think, for Ketchikan for quite a while, is not having reserves where other, you know, other harbors in the state that have reserves, they're able to put in for, you know, because it's a 50% grant. It depends on the grants you're putting in for. Some federal grants, it's a 75-25 or an 80-20. This particular grant's a 50-50 match.
So you made a motion in support of the raise, is that?
I did what I have to. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't,
Yeah,
bad as I hate this whole thing, I don't see, they're gonna raise it no matter what we say. I mean, they have to. I mean, it's what life is. I mean, I'm certainly not for me paying more, but I don't see any other way around it myself. I just don't.
do we have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any more discussion? Okay, can we do a roll call vote on this one?
Cochran,
Yes.
Wilsey,
Yes.
Lundy,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Faber,
Yeah.
Ruth,
Yes.
and Matani.
Abstain.
Okay, motion passes.
8%.
8%.
Yeah.
Moving on to raw fish tax.
So, if I recall the last meeting, the raw fish tax was discussed. There was a memo that was brought forward, for the FAB to approve, to take back to council to in turn, take to the borough, requesting $60,000 of the raw fish tax to put safety, items, within the harbors of Ketchikan. And that, of course, passed. And at the end of the last meeting, I believe somebody said we would like to talk more about this and bring it back up again and have a little discussion about the raw fish tax. So that's my understanding. I will say that on March 2nd, I will be at the Borough Assembly meeting. Mr. Wilson will be at the Borough Assembly meeting with the proposal for that $60,000. It may be a very good time to also go to the Borough Assembly meeting if you have concerns about the raw fish tax and its use.
March 2nd?
March 2nd, that is correct. I believe it starts at 5:30 at the White Cliff Building.
Right.
So with that, I'll turn it back over to the board to discuss any additional information on the raw fish tax.
But I guess we don't have the language, but would it be helpful to, if the board, I don't know, like if, as a board that we recommended, I know we don't advise the borough, but some sort of letter of support for the 60,000?
Well, we've already done that. We have that.
Okay,
If there was other items, you know, beyond the $60,000, I mean, that I think was the intent of the continuation of these discussions, was to say, hey, you know, and I'm trying not to speak for the FAB board, but I'm trying to remember, my understanding was, there wanted to be more discussion on what additional things that raw fish tax from the borough could be used for.
No, this is slippery slope.
Yes.
Everything that we've taken to the borough comes back or it's postponed. I mean, my thinking is let's hammer away at the 60,000 first. And if we are successful, because the borough assembly keeps postponing or keeps putting things away. I mean, they've done that with the bathrooms, with the 500,000 that they approved for the city to use the CVV fund. So we need to go and hammer this out and see where this goes and then follow up with other, because they get 480 some thousand. See what else we can use that, ask and request them to use that money for.
Would it be helpful to show up there as a citizen? I mean, not even saying I'm part of this, but
Yeah, it should be, I think.
because I mean, I talked to you guys here a couple weeks ago and, I'm just highly upset
You know,
that
as
they
many-
get any money.
You know, as many as people can show up, it is not writing letters. Letters get.
Oh, they get-
They do not do anything because they get set in some box and they're gone, but as many people as. I mean, you had a great effect on the city council when you spoke, right, with the city council members and members of the public. So getting there and speaking to people in front of the assembly has much more of an effect than writing letters.
And a lot of folks have no clue. I'd say most folks have no clue. So you have a governing board here in our community and we're all one. And they're getting most of it. And I've been doing some back searching on this, and me as a gear group of a Southeast Sainer, just by volume alone, we're responsible for half of that. And coming out of our processors that are in our city limits that we support and do the whole backyard. So I think it's just good to educate them. And like Jay said, this is gonna be long. It's gonna take some time because this has been going on forever.
Yeah.
But a lot of these folks, they have no idea. Oh yeah, this money, oh, it's great. We're getting this money from the fishermen. Great. We're gonna spend it on playgrounds. Well, I love playgrounds, but that's not right.
I think we were talking about when we were looking at the paper, it only went back to 2020, but it looked like there was a few years where they got the same that the city did. And then all of a sudden there was a jump where they got way
More.
Way more, yeah.
So,
Why? Does anybody know why?
well, that
I
would,
don't
that would be my question because,
I think the state changed that. Somehow, somewhere, the state changed that.
well, I don't see how they could, because it's supposed to go to the municipality
Yeah.
that the fish is landed in.
I don't
So
know
if
what-
I deliver fish in Craig, it goes, the Department of Revenue returns that money to the
To Craig.
municipality of Craig. And if I deliver it and use the hoist in the harbor in Ketchikan, I mean, I guess I'm confused between what exactly the borough, I know what the boundaries are, but as far as like receiving tax revenue, I guess I'm a little, I don't think there is a harbor in the borough. I mean, Newton or what? Newton, that's it.
The city owns the harbors and the city is in the borough.
And that's the
I mean,
whole,
there's
that's the
no-
point. The city
yeah.
is part of the borough. Borough is a
Yeah.
bigger
So,
entity.
but I don't understand why it's not one thing. I mean, it's like the raw fish tax for Craig, because I guess because there's no borough. So the raw fish tax in Craig, when we deliver there, it goes to the city of Craig. If you deliver in Petersburg, it goes to, I don't think they split it up. I don't know. I mean,
It's a unified city and borough of Petersburg.
so part of it goes to the borough.
Is
No,
there?
it's all
Still
one.
like-
All
One
one.
body. There's one body. We are two bodies. That's the issue.
We're very weird
Yeah,
here.
we are two bodies. And the city is part of the borough, so the borough gets a bigger share apparently.
Well, the tax comes from revenue from the user groups that use the harbors. So I think those user groups should benefit from that tax. And I know it's hard to get tax back once you've given it up. You know, it goes into the general fund and goes to everything else because we don't have income tax and all that. I understand that, but I do believe that the harbor, especially Bar Harbor, probably Thomas Basin too, could use a little hand up. And they are, all the fishermen and all those harbors could help this community with that tax that goes to the borough and the city here. And it's a user tax, you know, I know it's not directed back to the harbor department, but it should be, especially if there's no fund.
Right.
So you're back to the point, you have no money, so you can't go get money. That is.
So what if we put a proposal together, spitballing, but since they get way more than we do, we'll get the 60,000, but then like, why don't we put a proposal to be fair, to give back to our community, to the harbors that need it, right? Like, couldn't they give back that money and that could be reserves and then we could use that to get more money? Or do you think they would be unwilling to
Well,
share
that's
for the
problem.
benefit of our community?
That's the problem. I mean, like, it's city residents or city businesses, anything that goes on in the city, we still pay the borough tax.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And whatever business goes on in the borough, outside the city limits, we don't get any of that tax.
Right.
And that's the issue here.
Is when you deliver to, so if you deliver to a tender, is that where you make your delivery as far as for the tax, or does it?
Who owns the water? Is that borough water?
Well, that's
But
why
it's processed in the,
I
on land.
So I would think that where it was looking in years past where it was 50-50, that if it was like fish delivered in town, I could see that being split 50-50, but now the borough's getting more. I'm just wondering if there's fish being recorded that's being delivered in the borough, but outside of the
So
city
there's a
somehow.
landing code when you deliver, and so Russell's right, because it's the processors pay it, but at the end of the day, the fishermen pay all those taxes. So if it's, Ketchikan, then it's processed here. If it's processed over there, then it's over there. It doesn't matter if it's a tender sitting in the bay, that's still Ketchikan. I mean, that's the way I understood it, but at the end of the day, the boat owners pay for all those taxes. And the boat owners are the ones that are using the harbor facilities, and it should benefit us. But those benefits also benefit everyone else in this community that are liveaboards, that are sport boats, by having a nice harbor facilities. And I know the parking is not part of the harbor department, but you can see obvious problems for like handicapped people and stuff in the harbors, and particularly at Bar 2, that could be resolved and could be a benefit of the commercial fishing industry for the other residents of the city. It should benefit everyone. That's how taxes are supposed to work.
No, I agree with you. I was just kind of wondering if like one of the processors in town has started, depending on how they're submitting the tax, if it's showing landings that are in the borough and not in the city somehow, and if that's why the borough is getting this windfall of stuff, because I would think that pretty much all seafood's gonna, all the processors are in town, except for maybe.
A little clarification on what Tom is saying. If I deliver in Security Cove on Doll Island onto a tender, that tender comes to Ketchikan, it's delivered to a processor in the city limits. So if I catch the fish on Doll Island and I run them to town myself and deliver them, they go to a processor in the city limits. The processor collects the tax, but he subtracts that on my fish ticket.
Mhm.
And it's like 3%.
It's three.
Like you said,
we're
three and a-
ASME gets a half a point.
half a point, right? Well, there's so many taxes. You got Sarah tax, yeah. It's ground fish, national marine fisheries, and observers, and a bunch of stuff. But what I'm saying is, all the processing is done in city limits, and the question is, where is the line drawn? With the processor is the one paying the tax, so it should be drawn at the processor, I believe. That's a question we could ask.
It just seems like, it'd be interesting to kind of look and find out where that for it, because maybe the city's been getting shortchanged, like the borough's getting a bigger cut of the pie than they're supposed to. For
Looks
some
that way
reason.
to us.
2021, I think it changed.
Yeah, well, I'll have to go back. and
You know,
look.
now there's the formula change where it's not 50-50 anymore, but I just wonder
It almost
if they're getting money by that they're
Yeah.
not supposed to.
Well, it seems like there, and also the other, the 1.5 that goes to the state. I feel that Ketchikan's getting shortchanged there. I mean, that might be a question for the city council to ask the state. I mean, I don't think it would hurt for us to have the city council ask the state. I know what the answer is, but it doesn't hurt to like, hey, well, we don't have any reserves
I agree.
to, you know,
I agree.
I mean, if they gave the harbor back and all the maintenance goes back, but they're keeping the other 1.5 of the raw fish tax, that doesn't seem
Yeah.
right. I mean,
Can we pass a resolution here to bring it back to the city council, to bring it to the state and ask for these funds? At least the resolution is on the books.
Sure. Yeah, anyone wanna, what do we wanna word?
How would you verbalize that?
Oh,
Good word.
I mean, it would be you bringing it to the city
Yeah.
council, so.
Yeah.
How do you want,
basically, the percentage is 0.6, do you say, or 1.6?
it's 1.5, so it's 3.5%.
Yeah.
It's a 1.5 to the city,
Yeah.
to the city where it's landed, and a 1.5 to the state, and
Yeah.
0.5 point down.
So just a word resolution that the favorable recommendation or thinking is that the city council goes to this state, city and borough state representatives, Senator Bert Stedman and Representative Jeremy Bynum, to request the state to forward part of the tax that they collect from the Ketchikan fisheries or processors back for maintenance, because you're getting shortchanged. I won't say shortchanged, but because our fishermen, our processors are not, that are paying the tax are not benefiting anything.
Well, maybe go so far as to dedicate that funds as a reserve within the
Yeah.
harbor
Yeah.
department or grant
Grant
Funding
funding, or
match.
matching grant.
matching fund. grant.
Yeah, to help for the shortfalls that it
Yeah.
should have been, the state would have been paying that if I'm,
Oh, so the state's
Understanding this.
making bank by not maintaining our harbors.
yeah, right, no, they
Yeah.
are, and as a boat owner, I feel that like that's what that tax should be for, so.
And they start
Yeah.
maintaining the harbors, all the parking spots.
Yes.
The state backed out of everything and left it to the city. And the borough basically, I'd say, backed out of it too.
Yeah, so maybe that resolution could say, you know, have in there for the shortfalls of maintenance.
Yeah.
You know, that's the reason for the ask for it, or,
Well, I could see even going to the borough and asking for their share of the raw fish tax. I mean, you want to wait, that's fine, but dedicate that to harbor maintenance. I'm sorry.
And also at the same train of thought is why it's not, I mean, we're only getting less than half, 1.5 between the borough and the city. Why is the city getting not at least equal?
Yeah, exactly.
That's totally wrong.
We should bring them the bigger part of
Well, we should get a bigger part.
yeah. Sure,
They should,
but
Like
they should get.
we should be at least equal unless there's,
Equal, at least equal.
unless there's seafood showing up.
Yeah.
Being delivered outside of city limits but in the borough, but I don't know how that would happen. And it does kind of make me wonder if there's a mistake somewhere and the borough actually owes the city a bunch of money.
well, there was Ward Coat, but I don't think Ward Coat's even doing
That's-
anything at all.
No,
So,
no.
so the everything is within the city.
Because it's a huge amount. It'd be like half the Seine fleet was delivering to Ward Cove to make that, you know.
Well, it used to be,
Well, yes, but
not in 2 decades.
yeah. Anyway, I guess looking for, motion to support recommending the city.
You can.
Somebody else did. Make a motion, somebody make a motion to recommend the city council approach the borough and the state to see where our funding is shortfalling and that we need that funding for matching grant funds and maintenance of the harbors.
An audit into this.
Yeah,
We need to have an audit of
yeah,
what's going on.
Yeah, and have an audit, and also whereas this money, the city is getting a very short stack of this money when all the processing, all the delivery of the seafood is within the city limits.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. First one, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Good.
Any more discussion on raw fish shacks beyond the motion?
When is Stedman and Bynum are they gonna be here together?
No, at AML, we bring it to the municipal league.
Oh, okay, you have to go
On
somewhere.
the
Yeah,
16th
yeah,
of
yeah,
this
yeah.
month,
Where's
Well-
the AML meeting?
and in Juneau.
Well, I have Bynum's private number and I'm gonna write up something.
I'm there because the city representatives for that meeting is me, Jenna Lee Gage, and Bob Severson.
Oh,
We'll be
Okay.
flying there on the 16th.
okay.
I have one thing on the fish jacks. And for both of you, like I think the city should, like city staff should spend a little bit of money on staff time to do some sleuthing here, because I think there's
There might
something
be a
not
mistake.
right with that, and it might be worth
Yeah, okay.
the city's time. If, I don't know if the finance department would do that, or who would be the best ones to do it.
Probably finance.
All right. Anything else? Okay, moving on to Port Harbor's director's report.
Okay, everybody has the director's report in front of them. I'll just hit the highlights. Mountain Point Canoes and Boat Launch, we discussed that last month. City council did not want to pursue the Mountain Point lot due to price. We're still kind of in limbo as far as DNR, State of Alaska, for the Canoes and upper parking lot. Still not have heard anything back. I think it's time for me to ping them and see where that's at. So hopefully next month when I come here, I'll be able to at least report and give you a better idea where we're at. Harbor masters, they continue to be busy with the winter season, making rounds of the harbors, making sure that boats are not sinking, checking lines, putting pumps in, and making phone calls to make sure everybody's safe and sound, especially before and after any kind of a storm event. Mountain Point, we have an engineering firm putting together plan specs and estimates for a future Mountain Point ramp redesign replacement. Actually, it's the finger float there design replacement. Hopes to utilize these new plan specs and estimate for a future state or federal grant opportunity. And in that venue, we actually did find a federal grant opportunity, and we're putting together a grant to request repair to that Mountain Point facility. So this federal grant opportunity looks pretty good. Had discussions today with the engineering firm. They're going to try to get me some preliminary drawings to include in this grant proposal. We already have estimates, so they'll be able to get an idea of what exactly we're trying to do. And hopefully it will put us in the running for this grant. So that's going on. So that's a little exciting. Breakwater Bar Harbor North, we continue to meet with the Corps of Engineers. Concrete pours for the new breakwater build is ongoing and still on schedule to commence the summer of 2026. And things seem to be progressing quite nicely there. So I think that's That will continue. I did not attend the last meeting. I was actually up in Anchorage last week. But if it's anything like every other meeting we've had, it's progressing nicely and I haven't heard anything different. Port, berth 3 dolphin upgrades. The project was opened on 17 December. Bid was ultimately rejected due to the price and decreased scope and risk. We're currently determining a possible future rebid of this project. So went out to bid. We got a really high bid. Tried to negotiate with them and talk it down, and it just couldn't happen. So we just ultimately rejected the bid, and we're going to regroup. I think a lot of it has to do with this particular type of construction firm. They've got a lot of other work going on right now. So unfortunately, getting them up here to Ketchikan at the moment is a little hard. We're hoping that maybe in the next year or two we'll have a little better luck, but we will put that back out to bid and we'll see what happens. Port passes, port operation coordinator is looking to possibility of a license plate reader. Seems to think that will be installed before the start of the season. What that should do is limit those folks coming on, be able, give them a time limit, and we'll know who's coming on and off, and be able to keep that traffic moving on the port. Berth 3 tender float lease, that issue was discussed at our January 13th FAB meeting. Members of the public spoke against the lease. Bottom line, we went back to the city council with your recommendation is to keep the berth 3 inside float as a pickup drop-off area, which is a first come, first served basis for all tour excursions during the day. It's understood there is no designated or reserved moorage allocated to any vessel. In addition, recommendations made ensure that no vessel, including tour vessels, be allowed to moor or loiter anytime a cruise ship is present on berth 3, as this area is strictly allocated as a drop-off and pickup area during the day. All vessels should have equal access to the area for evening open moorage, but only when the cruise ship is fully departed the berth 3 area. No tour related or commercial vessel should be allowed to enter the berth 3 inside float area with the intent to moor until such time as the cruise vessel is completely departed for the day. So that's we're going to go with your recommendations. The city council agreed to those recommendations, and that's what we're going to move forward with. Temporary port security workers, port operation coordinator continues to interview potential summer workers and has been submitting documents for new hires and rehires for the 26 cruise ship season. That's going pretty well. Got a lot of new hires that we've already got coming back. I've got return workers coming back. We've got some new workers. We've got some what they would call long-term workers that are able to work the whole season. We're still trying to find some folks that will be available for the whole season, so they're working on that. So, but I think we'll get there. So that's going nicely. And our maintenance folks have been clearing snow, utilizing snow on the ramps during the freezing weather. They're performing maintenance tasks within the harbors and on the port as conditions permit. And they're also been performing some indoor building maintenance items as well. We're looking forward to the summer cruise ship season. And let's see here. We've got the harbor temp worker hires. They just got posted today. I saw that. So we're looking for our temp harbor masters as well. I went to the Cruise Line Agency Conference in Anchorage, and I can just report back that I met with the new cruise lines that will be coming to town. That's MSC and Virgin. Had meetings with both of those folks. They're excited to be coming to Ketchikan and excited to be getting into the Alaska market. We had good conversations overall related to regulatory compliance in the industry. And good overall cooperations between the various cruise lines. So it was interesting for me to sit back and kind of watch how they operate and how they talk to each other. And, it was a good meeting overall, and it was good to put names with faces. So that is the February director's report.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions, and I don't know if this is the proper time slot, but with regards to port fees, we as a body are recommending harbor increases. Do we not recommend port fee increases? That's outside of our.
That's the,
Okay.
And on that same vein, port increases are coming substantial.
Well, right, but you just approved or recommended a rate increase for the harbor, but we don't do recommendations for port increases.
No. That's normally done through council and there's a time frame that kind of leads up. You need to get it well in advance. It goes to the cruise agencies and there's a certain time limit that they have to do that. And that's usually done via the council through the budget process. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah,
Mr.
and they
Matheny?
need the cruise lines need 18 months to enforce that.
Sure.
The port fees and we actually talked about it for 2 years before we finally found that window of 18 months and told them where we're going with it, and they've agreed to it. I mean, my personal opinion, I wanted a little bit more, but we finally settled on an amount. I think that brings us online with other cruise ship ports.
Okay. And the other thing is, harbor department can write citations for, parking in the launch. Parking lots that are used for vehicles with trailers, if you don't have a permit on them.
Yes, the harbor masters can write tickets for those.
I
kind of-
was approached by a very irate ramp user that wasn't able to park their vehicle and their trailer in the parking lot because the tour bus was using it for a staging area, waiting for their passengers
Okay.
to get ready to be picked up. So I'm hoping that if somebody is caught doing that, that they would be cited for that rather than, hey, you shouldn't be here, and then they get to leave and it happens again or happens again.
Are you talking citing the bus? The bus? I think normally what they'd ask them to do is to move along. That would be the first thing. Now, if it's a repeat thing over and over again, then that may come into play.
Well, it sounds like that may be what's happening primarily at Knutson Cove. Yeah,
Okay,
and then there was an issue where we got a little,
a little heated.
no, they weren't able to exit the parking lot without high centering the bus and completely blocking it off for an extended period of time.
We can certainly talk about that and look into that.
Where was that, Jay?
Knutson Cove,
Knutson.
Down?
no up top,
Oh,
Oh, the top lot.
yeah, the top lot. Pretty convenient if you're waiting for your passenger to just park right there and be in the way.
were they tourist passengers or?
Yes. Tour bus.
Okay, and who owns the top lot?
That lot is actually owned by DNR. That's that lot we are trying to get turned over to us from DNR.
But the harbor department has enforcement.
But we do have enforcement.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's all I have.
But well, I just had another question along that vein. I mean, is there rules of what it can be used for?
Yeah, technically, it's supposed to be for vessels with trailers only. Now, if somebody's up there in a bus waiting, as long as they're not in the way, I wouldn't, I probably wouldn't get too, as long as somebody's there. Now, if there was a bus up there and nobody was there, I'd ticket them, But the unfortunate thing is, we have limited harbor masters. They do make the rounds. They have to be there at the right time, at the right place and see it. And that could be, if they make the round in the morning and this happens in the afternoon, odds are we're not gonna catch it unless we get some phone calls or something like that.
And a sign be put up, no staging for if there is a vessel with a vessel with a trailer there, it put up signs. saying
There
not
is
supposed-
signage there that
Yeah.
says the parking is for vehicles with trailers only.
I suppose you almost, most of the buses probably have a port pass. You could send out a memo if that gets to be a problem, say, hey, please don't.
True.
I invited them to come and speak at the meeting. They obviously didn't.
Yeah, it would have been helpful to know, which bus and when this happened.
What company?
that kind of thing.
Yeah. One question about our new players, new ships, companies.
Mhm.
Is somebody going away?
No,
So we're gonna squeeze them in somewhere on this dock sometime during the day?
No, Norwegian went away, so they
Oh, yeah.
basically will take
Oh.
Norwegian place. Norwegian. went to
Norwegian's out.
Warsaw.
Right,
Cool.
right. Okay, okay. So we're just gonna be back to
Yeah.
wide open, full on.
They'll, they've got an X amount of stops, just like everybody else, and
Okay.
I think it'll be fine. We are gonna have, certainly we're gonna be busy.
Okay. Can I, talk for a minute about the memorandums that Lacey sent the city council? And you sent to Lacey, this is about the launch. Those, I read all those. And I read, did this cost us any money to have engineering firm?
No.
That they're just on?
Yeah.
Tenure? Okay, great. Okay, so I read all these. The city gave them to me today. So where do you stand? Your last sentence?
My stand is, I just had to send that back to council, when we had the meeting. I told you I was gonna write a letter and send it there, and I did that. The reality is, this is what I'm seeing, this is what your ordinance says. And if there's a deviation, they've gotta be able to tell me they can deviate. I cannot do that.
But you
So-
recommended a motion.
Well, I always recommend a motion, but they did not they did not take that up, is my understanding.
Okay, I'll talk to them
Okay.
and see where I go from here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions?
I have a question about the Fort Pass.
Sure.
So are we doing it for sure?
Fort passes?
Yeah.
We
Because
always
it said
do
you're
Fort-
looking into the possibility of a license plate reader and then
Yes,
it said
my
this item
understanding-
should be installed.
My understanding is, the last word I got from the port operations coordinator is they're going to get this plate reader up and running.
This year.
That's
This
my
season.
understanding. Correct. Yes, this year.
Any more questions? Okay, moving on. Does anyone have any future agenda items they want to add? Can we, do you think in a month that will just maybe an update on the raw fish tax next month, or we can go back to, when is,
March second,
Yeah,
so there's March 2nd,
it should be in the April meeting.
April. And maybe that just goes in the
Yeah.
director's report, if you have an update, if they, as far as some of the other things, maybe. When's the meeting with the state representatives?
So that's on the 16th of this month, 16th,
16th
between
of
the
this month.
16th and the 19th, yeah,
of February,
at February.
and this will be brought up.
Yeah. we'll bring
Great,
it up.
okay, you're gonna be there, Bob's gonna be there,
Yeah.
Jay, okay.
Yeah.
January.
Anyway, if we
So-
have news, then
Yeah, the short answer is if I hear something back, I'll definitely make sure it's in their director's report. I'm not gonna speak for Mr. Batani, but I'm pretty sure if he talks to
Yeah.
the folks at AML, he'll report back
Yeah, I will.
what he's heard.
Yeah.
Could we also maybe get, somebody give us a heads up on how that meeting goes before the March 2nd meeting, which I plan to attend?
I'm sorry, which meeting goes?
The AML.
The AML.
You'll find,
If
I'll,
there's-
I'll give you a report,
Just,
yeah. a brief
you know, just
report
feel
on
the
how-
room, what-
How it
yeah.
went, yeah.
Yeah. Just, I know there,
any other agenda items? Okay, anything you want us to discuss next time?
No.
I guess you'll throw it on there. if
I
you need to.
I will bring it up if something happens, I will definitely send you guys an email and say, hey, this became a hot topic. Can we put it on the agenda?
Okay,
and we have to have 14 days
Um,
to discuss things, is that? how-
no.
No,
That
that's
was,
for the
that
city
was
council.
that was that ordinance
Yeah.
thing. That's
Okay.
not us.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
not us.
that's
We
where
just
it's
need to
taken
make
over.
sure it gets on here at the agenda.
Okay,
board member comments. Guess we'll start with,
I'm good. I don't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Good discussion today. I think we're gonna do some good work. Let's get some answers and move forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. James, thanks for filling in over there.
Awful quiet over there, Jim.
Yep.
Got the sound on?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I just would like to see the conversation on the rock fish tax continue and it should. Commercial fishing industry benefits the city of Ketchikan, that money should benefit the harbors. My comment.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Great discussion. See where we go with this.
I guess,
And to adjourn.
thank you, everyone. You move to adjourn? Second,
Second.
right? So, adjourn.
Mr. Lundy.